Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video, I am continuing to work on the progression of my T17 release. Now if you haven't seen my other videos, take a quick look back at my other TFK T17 videos. In those videos I covered the overall design features of this blade, the thought process behind it, the manufacturing behind it, and everything through my own tabletop review of this knife as well as a field test. Now at this point I am continuing to move forward. The standard sheath with this TFK T17 is a TFK leather dangler. But I wanted to be able to provide my users a good quality Kydex option as well. So I've teamed up with Mark from Extreme Edge Custom Kydex to create a prototype Kydex sheath. So here you'll see the first two Kydex sheaths that we have made for this T17. Again, these are basically a prototype, but the final design will be very, very close to these. Now, like all the details on the T17, I have really sweated the details on this Kydex, trying to make sure that it has all the fit and finish, all the functionality, and the great things that will come as a package and companion to this T17. Now, I have a whole bunch to show you, and if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to talk about, do me a favor. Stay tuned. So as I mentioned, I have teamed up with Mark from Extreme Edge Custom Kydex to create a beautiful Kydex carry solution for my TFK T17. Now as you look down here, you'll see a whole bunch of things. These are components that are worth talking about so you can see the overall function and features of this Kydex sheath. Now the first thing I'd like to talk about is the actual Kydex that we're choosing to use. So as you look at these two sheaths here, you will notice that they are generally black with that nice toxic green inside. The core on this in the, I would call it Outer Limitless like standard edition, is going to be this toxic green. Now you will notice that the edges are slightly different. We have sweated all the details, including our choice of the actual Kydex. So even though the two of these theoretically look about the same thickness, they are actually quite different. Now the difference doesn't necessarily come in the overall thickness, but rather the amount of black on the sheath. So here you'll see that this particular sheath has a lot more green popping off the edge, whereas this one here has a lot more black. Now you may think that that's simply due to the thickness of the black layer. Well, that's part of the story, but not the entire story. The reality is this sheath here does have more black on it. But the reason for that is this is basically a black sheet of Kydex essentially melted and glued onto a green Kydex interior. So this is really like two sheets kind of laminated together. Now that particular fact has us a little bit nervous. We want a system that's going to be good and durable and last. So when you take a look at this Kydex here, this is actually a thermally bonded black layer completely infused onto the green to pretty much make one almost homogeneous piece of Kydex. Now we are using 0.08 thick Kydex, so a good quality, durable, and well put together sheath. You'll notice that this is very nicely molded overall and has a beautiful shape. Now again, these are prototypes, so they are not quite as refined as the final version will be, but they are damn close. And the other thing you'll notice is the rivet pattern is very similar on both, only a little bit more refined now that we get into the final configuration. And finally, the swoop on the sheath is very close, but on the final version, we're going to narrow the profile just a little bit, give it a little bit of a more narrow and sleek tip to it, just to cut down on the overall girth and bulk. But taking the TFK here and sliding it in, a good positive click, but generally speaking, good overall positive lockup. Now this is very easy to deploy. This sheath was intentionally made just slightly tight with the idea that each one of these sheaths will kind of break in a little bit over time. Now Kydex does actually wear in a little bit. It's not quite the same as leather and takes just a little bit longer, but a good quality Kydex sheath that's been nicely used and worn in is a very desirable carry system. So in that regard, again, deployment of the knife is very simple. Good quality retention, zero slop, zero play. This thing sits in here absolutely beautifully. Now as I flip this around, you will notice that this is a fully ambidextrous sheath, which is nice. I wanted to have a good quality solution for the masses, something that everybody could use. I wanted something that would be a good choice for a backpacker, camper, hiker, bushcraft, and even tactical application. Generally speaking, this is a good overall solution for a sheath, and in future iterations there will be likely different color combinations available. But this, as I mentioned, is the very first Outer Limitless official edition in this black with the toxic green liner. So the entire package, from the knife with the handle scales and those liners on the inside just popping off the tang, to the Kydex on the sheath, and the leather stitching on the actual TFK stock Dangler leather sheath. So a package that all in all is going to be one that matches, one that gives you good overall versatility and flexibility depending on your likes and needs. Now again, keep in mind that I do have two sheaths here. So a very repeatable result. Very similar overall retention, nicely done on both of these. So again, like I mentioned, a good quality, repeatable result. And equally important, this TFK T17 is a semi-handmade, I would call it really more of your mid-tech design. So what about if you had more than one of these? Would one particular knife be capable of making the mold for all of these sheaths? Well, the one I have here and I have been using is the one without the sharpened spine. But if I grab my second model here, this one does have the sharpened spine, and clicking it into the sheath, again, perfectly fit, well-formed fit, nice overall retention. And that is definitely the case for both of these. So very well done, nice repeatable overall design, good sweep, good style, and just overall a very functional piece. Now, one of the standards that I tried to achieve in my preliminary design as I designed this sheath, working with, again, Mark from Extreme Edge Custom Kydex, we kind of came up with a hybrid solution between what my mind saw and then Mark's own trademark design. So here is really more of Mark's trademark sort of look and feel versus what I came up with, but between the two of us, I think we came up with a pretty sweet looking piece. Now, one of the things that does work very well about this sheath is the fact that it can mount up a ton of different mounting solutions. So you are not necessarily stuck or fixed with any one particular solution. In fact, I have a whole bunch of different hardware here that can mate directly up to both of these sheaths. So again, a repeatable result where we are working on a very compatible layout for all the eyelets so that you have good overall functionality and versatility. Now, the main thing to consider is that this pattern is generally spaced around a blade tech lock. And the idea will be that these sheaths will come with a tech lock. So this will be the actual belt carry solution that we offer. Now, you do have the ability to put this in a number of different configurations. The one that really, for me, seems to work a bit the best is a cross draw style. So putting it on my weak side, this can be set up a number of different ways with the pattern here to basically give you a little bit of a cross draw on my weak side. So again, this would sit on my hip at a little bit of an angle using this tech lock on my belt, which would allow me to reach across my body and deploy the knife. Now, obviously, this can be used in the vertical and horizontal position pretty easily depending on your needs. Now for me, the reason why I originally designed a leather dangler pouch is because I greatly like a dangler sheath. So I didn't want to leave the Kydex out of the equation. This again can be set up with a dangle option. Now, there are places you can get these. We are not going to be providing one of these. This is simply showing you an option, something that you could get if you're interested. But the spacing again is conducive to fitting this in a number of different locations. These Dangler adapters are pretty much, you can get them in a number of different styles. This happens to be an AZ Welke edition. So here you basically just need to space this out to what works for you. Put some spacers under here, get your bolts in place, and then you have yourself overall a nice dangle carry system. Now I very much wanted this to appeal to the tactical application, so we have created a MOLLE plate adapter. So this again can go in a number of different locations on the sheath. You'll notice that it is spaced out quite well to fit on either side here. Now depending on what you need to do, you can get this in a number of different locations on the side of the sheath. This is perfectly spaced for your traditional MOLLE, so the ability to get this on a pack, a vest, something like that definitely works very well. That's exactly what I was going for. Something that was a nice quality, versatile, and multi-purpose item. So this here happens to be the perfect spacing that is semi by design. You'll see here a number of locations that this can be placed. Now carefully spaced out. This does allow you to have additional carry options. This can also be placed horizontally, so if you wanted a scout style, something like that, it would definitely work. And even if you wanted a little spring clip. So this just happens to come from an Azula. So let's just say you wanted to fit this on here. There are a number of different locations where this would match up depending on what you're trying to do. So carrying both in the vertical and horizontal position, this would definitely work. Now, one of the key additions to this sheath is the fire steel holder. So again, you will see this here with that toxic green liner. This has been made essentially to fit on a couple of locations on this sheath. Now this will work if you're a righty or a lefty. You just need to position it a little bit differently, and the fire steel would fit on here just a little different as well. Now this particular loop has been set up for a 1/2 inch fire steel. So you'll see here, this is a Bayite 6-inch by 1/2 inch diameter fire steel. Now I do very much like this fire steel. It's been great for me. So for me to have this on my knife is awesome. So I opted for a 1/2 inch fire steel holder. But let's just say you have a different size. I am going to offer any size you request. So this can be made pretty much to any standard size fire steel, and depending on your needs, you can get this sized accordingly. So that is going to be definitely one of the custom options you get with this Kydex carry system. And then moving on, let's just say you wanted to piggyback a knife. You certainly could do that. So if you had a slightly smaller option, something you wanted to carry, piggyback with this sheath, there are ways to do it. You'd need to be a little bit creative with your spacers, and you maybe need some additional hardware with some longer bolts, but generally speaking, this has plenty of options. Now again, just finalizing my thoughts, overall very well molded, nice overall fit and finish. For the most part, this has a little bit of refinement that needs to be done for the final version, but we are very close. Overall, this has a nice quality feel, solid in the lockup department, no rattle, no wiggle, good overall form factor. I think it's very stylish. It matches the knife absolutely perfectly and is overall a great looking package. So alright guys, there you have it, the final wrap up of the design and build prototyping process. So for me, this is an amazing point in time. This is right around the corner. The next video you see for this TFK T17 will be announcing that it is for sale. Now at that time, I'll have all the pricing available. I will let you know all your options, and I'll let you know the different price points and availability of the things that you've seen. Now with that said, there will be a number of options, but generally speaking, the bulk of these knives in the early on first release will be the actual Outer Limitless Edition colors. Now I'm hoping there will be some slight variety depending on your needs, so I'm going to build into this initial run all the options that you can choose. I want to give you some flexibility and versatility, and you're going to get yourself your own unique TFK T17. So alright guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you liked what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.